Listen to me. I don't care where you're from. I don't care what's in your bank account. I don't care who doubted you, who walked out on you, or who told you weren't enough. None of that matters right now. What matters is this: you've got to decide right here, right now, that you are not going to live another day beneath your potential. You've got to decide that you're going to dig deep and pull out every ounce of greatness God put inside you. And when the voice in your head starts saying, it's too hard, you can't do it, you've got to shout louder than that voice, I can. I must. See, I can. It's more than just positive talk. It's the foundation. Before you lift a weight, before you fill out an application, before you make that call, before you even take the first step toward your goal, you've got to believe you can do it. If you go into the fight already thinking you're defeated, you've lost before you even throw a punch. I learned a long time ago that your mind will quit before your body ever does. And if you allow doubt to live rent-free in your head, it will rob you of every opportunity that's meant for you. But the moment you replace doubt with belief, you open the door to possibilities that didn't even exist before. When I was homeless, when I was sleeping in abandoned buildings, I didn't have much, but I had belief. I told myself, E, you can make it. E, you can get out of this. Did I have the resources? No. Did I have the connections? No. But I have belief, and belief will take you places that resources never could. You've got to stop waiting for the perfect circumstances. You've got to stop saying, I'll start when. No, you start now with what you have, where you are, because the belief that you will turn that little you have into more than enough. Now, once you believe, the next step is making a decision. I will. Listen, you can't just believe something is possible. You've got to decide that you're going to do it. That decision is a bridge between dreaming and doing. Saying, I will, is planting your flag in the ground and telling the world, this is mine. This is what I'm going after. Too many of you say, I can. But stop there. Belief without action is dead. The moment you say, I will, you put movement behind your mouth. You start waking up earlier. You start staying up later. You start reading the books, making the calls, sending the emails, doing the work. You stop waiting for the conditions to be perfect because you realize that perfection is an excuse to procrastinate. And when you've said, I can and I will, you've got to take it one step further. You've got to, I must. See, I must changes the game. I can is belief. I will is decision. But I must is necessity. It means this goal, this dream, this mission is not optional anymore. It's as necessary to you as breathing. You're not just interested in it. You're not just hoping for it. You need it. That's when you stop talking about it and start living it every single day, because now your life depends on it. When I needed to graduate, it wasn't because I thought it'd be nice. I had to do it. I had people dependent on me. I had a future that was calling my name. And when you get to that must level, you find energy you didn't know you had. You find courage you didn't know you had. You find a way because there's no way you're going home empty-handed. I must turns impossible into inevitable. Now here's the truth. Motivation alone won't keep you there. Motivation is good for getting you out of bed, but it's discipline that keeps you moving when the hype wears off. Motivation is an emotion. Discipline is a decision. You're not always going to feel like working out, studying, making those sales calls, practicing that skill. But discipline says, I don't care how I feel. I made a commitment and I'm keeping it. Discipline is doing what needs to be done even when you don't feel like it. And every time you do that, you're proving to yourself that you're serious, that you're reliable, that you can trust you. You also have to understand this. On the road to success, you are going to run straight into pain. There's no way around it. The difference between winners and quitters is not that winners don't feel pain. It's that they push through it. Pain is temporary. Quitting lasts forever. I've been tired. I've been broke. I've been hurt. I've been embarrassed. But every time I pushed through, I got stronger. Every time I pushed through, I leveled up. And that's why I'm telling you, don't run from the pain. Embrace it. Let it teach you. Let it shape you to the person you're supposed to become. And finally, understand that this is not about one big moment. You don't get to the top because of one amazing day of effort. Success is built on execution, day after day after day. Small, consistent actions create massive results over time. The world is full of people who worked hard for a week, a month, maybe even a year, and then gave up. But the ones who win are the ones who keep showing up, even when nobody's watching, even when nobody's clapping. You don't wait for inspiration. You don't wait for someone to call your name. You wake up every morning and execute. Listen to me. You might not have the perfect plan right now. You might not have all the answers. You might be carrying pain. I was. doubt, fear, but you've got breath in your lungs. And if you're still breathing, you've still got fight left in you. You owe it to yourself to give everything you've got. Don't go to your grave with your dreams still inside you. Don't let the world miss out on the gift you've been given. So the next time life hits you hard, and it will, the next time you feel like you're on empty, the next time you feel like quitting, I want you to stop and remind yourself who you are. Look in that mirror and tell yourself with every ounce of conviction you have, I can. I will, L-I-M-U-S-T. And when you say it, don't just say it. Believe it, act on it, live it. Because the only thing standing between you and the life you were meant to live is you deciding to go get it. When you say, I will, you are making a choice that separates you from the masses. You've moved beyond just believing you can do something. Now you've locked in. You've decided. And a real decision is powerful because it shuts the door on every other option. Too many people say, I'll try. Too many people say, I hope. Too many people say, I'll see what happens. And that's why they never get where they want to go. I will doesn't leave room for maybe. It doesn't leave room for excuses. It doesn't leave room for distractions. When you say, I will, you are making a promise to yourself. And the only way to keep that promise is with action. When you say, I will, you're saying, I don't need to know every detail right now. I'm starting anyway. You're saying, I might not have the perfect conditions. I might not have every skill, but I will learn what I need to learn. I will do what I need to do. I will become who I need to become to make this happen. You're saying, I'm not waiting for a miracle. I'm going to create the miracle through my grind, through my focus, through my discipline. And you've got to understand, when you say, I will, the universe starts moving. Doors you didn't even know existed start cracking open. People you've never met start showing up in your life at the right moment. But it doesn't happen if you're halfway in. It happens when you're all in. I remember times in my life when I had no safety net. There was no plan B. And when you don't have a plan B, I will becomes a survival instinct. When I said, I will get my degree in a minute, I wasn't just saying it for applause. I meant I was going to attend class when I was tired. I was going to read the books when I didn't feel like it. I was going to write the papers when everyone else was out having fun. I was going to keep going, even when it felt like it was taking too long, even when it felt like the finish line was too far away. That's the thing about will. It doesn't ask how long it's going to take. It just says, I'm going to keep going until it's done. When you live with I will in your spirit, you don't need everything to go right. You can have setbacks. You can have disappointments. You can have days when nothing goes your way. And you keep going because you've already decided. You've already committed. People who haven't made that decision quit when it gets hard. But when you've said, I will, quitting is not an option. You might rest, but you don't stop. You might adjust, but you don't walk away. I will is not based on feeling. It's based on a commitment you've made to yourself. And let me be clear. When you say, I will, you've got to back it up with daily actions. Saying the words is not enough. You can't post it on social media and think the universe is just going to hand it to you. No, you wake up earlier, you stay up later, you put in extra reps, you make more calls, you do whatever it takes. You can't say, well, I will, and then work at maybe level. You've got to work at a championship level. You've got to work like the thing you want is right around the corner, even if it feels miles away. And when you get tired, and you remind yourself why you said, I will, in the first place. That's why you got to have a reason bigger than your excuses. Why? If your why is strong enough, your how will show up. If your reason for saying, oh, I will, is just to look good in front of people, you won't last when it gets ugly. But if your reason is tied to your survival, your family, your future, your calling, nothing will stop you. That's why when I said, I will, get out of the streets, I meant it. I wasn't just talking about me. I was talking about breaking a cycle. I was talking about creating a new future for my family. I was talking about changing the narrative. And when your I will is about more than you, it becomes unstoppable. And don't expect everybody to clap for you when you say, I will. Some people are going to doubt you. Some people are going to laugh at you. Some people are going to try to talk you out of it. That's okay. You're not saying I will to them. You're saying it to yourself. You're not doing it for their approval. You're doing it because you've made a decision. You've got to get comfortable with being misunderstood for a season. You've got to be okay with people not seeing the vision because it's not their vision. It's yours. And when it's your vision, you're responsible for protecting it, nurturing it, and bringing it to life. Here's the thing. When you say, I will, life is going to test you. It's going to throw obstacles in your path. It's going to see if you really meant what you said. The deadlines will get tighter. The resources will get thinner. The noise will get louder. And that's when most people fold. But not you. Not when you've truly said, I will. That's when you double down. That's when you push harder. That's when you remind yourself, I didn't come this far just to come this far. And every time you push through one of those tests, you get stronger. You build a track record with yourself. You start to trust yourself. You start to realize that you've got more in you than you ever thought. And eventually, I will becomes I did. You look back at all the times you could have quit and you didn't. You look back at all the times it felt impossible and you kept going. And you realize that the decision you made back then, the decision to say, I will, and mean it, changed your entire life. That's why you can't take it lightly. That's why when those words come out of your mouth, they have to be backed up by relentless action, unshakable discipline, and a mindset that refuses to lose. So the next time you think about your dream, I don't want you to say, I hope. I don't want you to say, I'll try. I don't even want you to say, I can, without going further. I want you to stand tall, look yourself in the mirror, and declare, I will. And then I want you to go out there every single day and prove it. Because when you live with I will as your default setting, nothing, and I mean nothing, can stop you. When you get to the place where you say, I must, everything changes. I can is belief. I will is decision. But I must is urgency. It's survival. It's the line in the sand that says there is no turning back. I must means it's not just a goal anymore. It's non-negotiable. It's not something you work on when it's convenient. It's not something you pick up and put down when you feel like it. It's something you breathe, something you live, something you refuse to leave undone no matter what happens. When you reach the point of I must, you don't have to convince yourself to keep going because there's no other option. This is what you do. This is who you are. When you say I must, it's because you've tied your goal to something deeper than just wanting it. You've connected it to your purpose, your identity, your responsibility. This is when your dream becomes so essential to you that without it, you can't even recognize yourself. People who say, I can, will try. People who say, I will give effort. But people who say, I must, are dangerous because they're willing to outwork, outlast, and outfight anyone in their way. They don't ask for permission. They don't wait for approval. They make it happen because they have no choice but to make it happen. I remember seasons in my life where I must was all I had. When I was homeless, when I was sleeping in abandoned buildings, there wasn't a plan B. Wasn't, I'll see if this works out. No. Either I changed my life or I stayed in the pit. Either I got up and fought for my future, or I lost it forever. That's I must. That's what makes you get up when the alarm goes off at 4 in the morning. That's what makes you show up when nobody's calling your name. That's what makes you go the extra mile when you're already exhausted. When you operate from I must. You remove every excuse. There's no, I didn't have the time. No, I didn't feel like it. No, I wasn't ready. You find a way because you have to. If the front door is locked, you go through the back. If the back is locked, you climb through a window. If the window's locked, you break through the wall. When you have a must, you stop negotiating with yourself. You stop giving yourself the option to sit it out. You start treating every single day like it's your last chance because deep down you know it might be. And here's the thing. Life will try to test if you really mean it. The moment you say, I must, obstacles start showing up like they heard the announcement. Your car breaks down. The deal falls through. You get rejected. You lose something you thought you couldn't live without. That's the moment most people fold. But when it's a must, you keep moving. You cry if you have to, but you keep going. You take a punch, but you get back up. You lose the battle, but you keep fighting the war because I must means there's no quitting. There's no surrender. I must is what pushes parents to work 2, 3 jobs just to keep food on the table. I must is what makes an athlete get up at 5 a.m. to train while their competition is still asleep. I must is what makes an entrepreneur keep pushing after the 10th failed business, knowing the 11th might be the one. It's what makes a student study until their eyes burn because they're the first in their family to graduate and they refuse to be the last. This isn't about wanting to win. It's about needing to win. It's about needing to cross that line because everything you love, everything you've sacrificed, everything you've dreamed of depends on it. When you say, I must, you also change the people around you. You stop spending time with people who are comfortable being average. You stop surrounding yourself with people who are okay with good enough because I must doesn't fit in a mediocre circle. I must requires you to be around people who challenge you, people who demand more from you, people who won't let you settle. You start protecting your time, your energy, and your mindset. Because you know that one weak influence can pull you away from your mission. And you know what else? I must forces you to grow. It forces you to dig deeper, to learn faster, to sharpen your skills, to step into uncomfortable situations, because comfort doesn't produce breakthroughs. You can't have an I must and live an easy life at the same time. The two don't go together. If you really have an I must, it's going to stretch you. It's going to break you down. It's going to rebuild you into someone you don't even recognize in the best way possible. You can't fake I must. You can't post about it and then go back to living like you don't care. People will see right through that. Real I must shows up in your habits, in your decisions, in your consistency. It's visible in the way you attack your goals every day. It's in your body language, in your tone of voice, in the fire in your eyes. You don't have to convince people you're serious. They can feel it. They can tell that you've burned the boats and you're not going back. But the most powerful thing about I must is that it turns fear into fuel. When something matters so much that you must achieve it, you stop letting fear control you. You still feel fear. It's human, but you don't let it stop you. You walk into the interview, into the arena, into the meeting, into the opportunity, and you do it scared if you have to. Because the thought of losing what you must have is greater than the fear of failing in the attempt. So ask yourself, what's your must? Not what you'd like to have, not what you're interested in, not what would be nice if it happened. What's the thing you cannot live without? What's the thing that's worth losing sleep for, worth sweating for, worth bleeding for? When you find that thing, you won't need anyone to motivate you. You won't need anyone to push you. You'll push yourself because you have to. And when you finally get it, when you finally cross that finish line, when you finally hold in your hands the thing you once could only imagine, you'll know it wasn't luck. It wasn't chance. It wasn't magic. It was your must. It was your refusal to quit. It was your ability to keep showing up when everything and you wanted to stop. That's the power of I must. It's the difference between people who wish for it and people who live it. And if you take nothing else from me today, take this. Once you make something a must, the only thing left to do is go get it. Discipline over motivation is one of the hardest lessons most people have to learn, because motivation feels good and discipline often doesn't. Motivation is that burst of energy you get when you watch a hype video, when you hear a great speech, when you get a taste of success, or when life puts you in a situation that fires you up. But here's the truth. Motivation fades. It's a spark, not a steady flame. It's a wave, not the ocean. You can wake up today feeling like you can take on the world if all you've got is motivation. What happens tomorrow when you wake up tired, when you're stressed, when nothing is going your way? If you're only relying on motivation, you quit. You find excuses. You push things to later. That never comes. That's why discipline has to be bigger than motivation. Discipline is the system you build that works whether you feel like it or not. Discipline is the commitment you make to the process even on days when your feelings tell you to stay in bed. Discipline says, I'm doing this because I said I would, because it's who I am, because it's what I stand for. Motivation whispers, do it when you feel good. Discipline says, do it anyway. Motivation can get you started, but discipline keeps you going. And this is where most people lose. They depend on the rush instead of building the routine. They want to feel inspired every day before they take action. And when that feeling doesn't come, they convince themselves it's not the right time. Champions don't think like that. Champions show up every single day, regardless of how they feel. And that's why they win more often than they lose. Discipline is what turns habits into second nature. It's what makes the athlete get up before sunrise to train even in the off season. It's what makes the student study for hours when no one's watching. It's what makes the entrepreneur keep making calls after a day full of rejections. Motivation would have quit after the first. No. But discipline says, I have a plan. I'm sticking to it. I'm not stopping until it's done. And here's the part people don't like to hear. Discipline is boring sometimes. It's repetitive. It's unglamorous. You do the same thing over and over again. Not because it's exciting, but because you know it works. And while everyone else is looking for the new shortcut, the next secret, the magic hack, you're stacking small wins every single day until your results are undeniable. When you have discipline, you don't let your emotions dictate your actions. You can feel tired, frustrated, even discouraged, but you still execute. You still put in the reps. You still show up for the meeting. You still send the email. That's the difference between amateurs and professionals. Amateurs let their moods and control their work ethic. Professionals let their work ethic control their moods. You can't build anything great if you only work on the days you feel like it. You can't reach your potential if you're only consistent when it's convenient. And discipline isn't just about the grind. It's about protecting your focus. It's saying no to distractions. It's turning down the invitation when you've got work to do. It's putting the phone down, closing the social media tabs, and locking in on your priorities. It's refusing to waste your best energy on things that don't move you forward. Motivation might tell you, I'll get serious tomorrow. Discipline tells you, if it's important, it gets done today. And you've got to train yourself to follow through on that no matter what. You've also got to understand that discipline is built, not born. Nobody comes into the world naturally disciplined. They train it, they practice it, they earn it. You start with small promises to yourself, and you keep them. You wake up at the time you said you would. You finish the workout you said you do. You stick to the budget you created. And over time, those small wins build trust with yourself. You start to believe in your own word, and that belief becomes the foundation for bigger goals. People talk about confidence like it's some magic gift, but real confidence comes from discipline, because you know you can rely on you. Discipline is also what keeps you moving when the results are slow. Motivation gets frustrated when progress isn't instant. Motivation wants to see the six-pack after 1 week in the gym, the big payday after 1 month of work, the skill mastered after a couple of tries. But discipline understands the long game. Discipline says, I'm not here for quick results, I'm here for lasting results. It knows that time is going to pass anyway, so you might as well spend it doing the right things consistently. The truth is, the people you admire, the ones who seem to win over and over again, they're not more motivated than you. They're more disciplined than you. They don't have more willpower in the moment. They have more systems, more habits, more routines that make success automatic. And once you understand that, you stop chasing motivation and start building discipline like your life depends on it. Because in many ways, it does. When you're disciplined, you don't fear bad days because you've trained yourself to keep moving regardless. You don't fear sacks because you know you'll get back on track. You don't fear failure because you've built the resilience to try again. And that's the freedom discipline gives you. It's not about restricting your life. It's about giving you control over it. When you're disciplined, you're not at the mercy of your moods, your environment, or your circumstances. You control what you can control, and you trust the process to handle the rest. That's why you can't let motivation be your engine. Motivation is the spark, but discipline is the fuel. Without fuel, the spark dies. Without discipline, the dream fades. And every time you choose discipline over comfort, you're voting for your future self over your current self. You're telling your future, I care about you enough to make the hard choice right now. You're sacrificing what you want in the moment for what you want most. That's the mindset that separates the people who wish from the people who win. So stop waiting to feel ready. Stop waiting to feel inspired. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. The perfect moment is the moment you decide to act. And the way you keep acting is by building discipline so strong that nothing can break it. Do the work today, do it tomorrow, and keep doing it until the results show up. And then keep doing it after that. Because the goal isn't just to hit a target. It's to become the kind of person who keeps hitting targets for the rest of their life. That's what discipline gives you. And once you have it, you'll realize you don't need motivation to win. You just need the discipline to never stop moving forward. Pain is the filter that separates those who say they want it from those who mean it. Everybody loves the idea of success, but the moment pain shows up, most people stop. Pain is the test. It's life asking you, how bad do you really want this? And your answer can't be words. It has to be action. When you push through pain, you tell the world, I'm not here for comfort. I'm here for victory. Pain is not your enemy. It's proof that you're in the process of growing. It's the fire that forges you into something stronger, sharper, and more unstoppable than you were before. People think pain is a sign that they should quit, but in reality, it's a sign that they're exactly where they're supposed to be. If you're not uncomfortable, if you're not being stretched, if you're not feeling resistance, it means you're still in the safety zone, and nothing great ever happens there. The truth is, pain is part of every journey worth taking. You can't build muscle without breaking down fibers. You can't develop endurance without pushing past your limits. You can't grow as a person without facing challenges that scare you, hurt you, or knock you down. And here's the thing. When you decide that pain is unacceptable, you also decide that growth is unacceptable. You end up living a safe life, but safe isn't fulfilling. Safe won't make you proud. Safe won't build a legacy. That's why you have to make a decision before the pain even shows up, no matter how it feels. I'm not stopping. There will be moments when the pain feels overwhelming. Maybe it's the burn in your lungs when you're pushing through that last sprint. or the ache in your muscles when you've been grinding in the gym for hours. Maybe it's the mental pain of rejection when you've poured your heart into something and been told not again and again. Maybe it's the emotional pain of sacrifice, missing out on things other people get to enjoy because you're locked in on your mission. Whatever form it takes, pain has one purpose: to test your commitment. And if your commitment is built on feelings, you'll fail that test every time. But if it's built on purpose, on I must, on knowing there's no way you can quit, you'll keep moving forward even when it hurts. Pain is temporary, but quitting lasts forever. That's not just a cliche, it's the reality. The soreness fades, the bruises heal, the tears dry, but the regret of knowing you stopped when you could have kept going, that stays with you for life. Every champion you've ever admired has a story about pain, about moments where everything in them wanted to stop, but something in them refused to quit. Michael Jordan played through the flu. Serena Williams won matches through injury. Soldiers push through exhaustion, hunger, and fear because they know the mission matters more than the discomfort. The people who win are the ones who see pain not as a stop sign, but as a green light that says, keep going, you're getting closer. That the mind will always try to protect you from pain. It will tell you to slow down, to take a break, to save yourself. And sometimes that's the right move for survival. But most of the time, it's just fear talking. The brain doesn't like uncertainty or struggle, so it tries to pull you back to the familiar. But here's the hard truth. The familiar is where your old results lie. The unfamiliar, the place where you've never been, the level you've never reached, that's where you have to go if you want something different. And getting there means pushing through the discomfort that your brain is screaming at you to avoid. And when you push through pain, you discover something powerful about yourself. You're stronger than you thought. You start to realize that most of the limits you believed in were lies. Your body can do more. Your mind can endure more. Your heart can carry more. Pain becomes a teacher. It teaches resilience, patience, and grit. It teaches you that you don't have to be fearless to keep going. You just have to keep going in spite of the fear. And once you learn that, you stop running from pain and start respecting it. You start looking at it as the price you pay for the life you want. One of the biggest mistakes people make is thinking that pushing through pain means ignoring it completely. That's not true. Pushing through pain means listening to it, learning from it, and deciding to move forward anyway. It means understanding the difference between damage and discomfort. Damage says, stop or you'll hurt yourself permanently. Discomfort says, this is hard, but you can handle it. Too many people treat discomfort like damage and pull back before they even scratch their true potential. That's why they never see what they're really capable of. Sometimes pain isn't physical at all. It's the pain of discipline. It's the pain of waking up early when you want to sleep in. It's the pain of saying no to short-term pleasure so you can say yes to long-term success. It's the pain of isolation when you're the only one chasing a vision that nobody else understands. That kind of pain is often harder than physical pain because it's quiet, it's lonely, and it doesn't always come with a clear reward right away. But it's the kind of pain that shapes your character, that builds your capacity to handle bigger challenges later. You can't control whether pain shows up in your life. You can only control how you respond to it. Pause. And the people who achieve greatness have made a decision. They're going to lean into it. They're going to treat it as part of the process, not a reason to stop the process. They understand that on the other side of pain is a version of themselves they've never met before. And that version is worth every second of the struggle. They don't waste time wishing it were easier. They work on getting stronger. So the next time pain comes, don't flinch. Don't panic. Don't see it as the end. See it as the sign you're getting closer to where you need to be. Push one more rep. Run one more mile. Make one more call. Study one more hour. Keep going one more day. Every time you do, you build a habit of persistence that will outlast any temporary discomfort. And one day, you'll look back and realize that the pain you once feared became the very thing that made you unstoppable. Because at the end of the day, pain doesn't break you. It shapes you. The only question is whether you're willing to push through it long enough to see what you're truly made of. Execution is where dreams either live or die. You can read every book, watch every video, attend every seminar, and still end up with nothing if you don't execute daily. Ideas are cheap. Plans are easy. Excitement is everywhere in the beginning. But execution, that's where the grind begins. Execution means you take the vision that's in your head and you put it into action step by step, day after day. No matter how small the steps are, it's not about what you intend to do. It's about what you actually do. You don't get paid for potential. You get paid for results. And results only come when you execute. Most people fail, not because they don't know what to do, but because they don't do what they know. They wait for the perfect time, for the perfect mood, for the perfect level of motivation. They say, I'll start when things slow down, or I'll get to when I feel ready. But the truth is, the perfect time never comes. The only perfect time is now. If you can't execute when it's inconvenient, you won't execute when it's convenient either, because you'll always find another excuse. Execution is a habit, and habits are built by repetition, not by waiting for conditions to line up. Executing daily means you show up for your goals like it's your job, because it is. If you say you want to get in shape, then you work out whether you feel like it or not. If you say you want to build a business, then you make the calls, send the emails, do the marketing, and serve your clients every single day. If you say you want to master a skill, then you practice daily until it becomes second nature. This is how execution works. You identify the critical actions that move you forward, and you commit to doing them every single day without fail. It's easy to execute when the results are showing up quickly, but the real test is whether you can execute when the results are slow. You might work for weeks or months without seeing much change, and that's where most people quit. They think nothing's happening, but something is happening. You're building momentum, building habits, and laying the foundation for the breakthrough. Execution is about trusting the process even when the payoff isn't immediate. It's about planting seeds every day and having the patience to let them grow. Daily execution also requires focus. You can't execute effectively if you're constantly distracted. Every time you get pulled into something that doesn't matter, you lose momentum on the things that do matter. That's why execution isn't just about doing the work. It's about protecting the time and energy to do the work. You can't say yes to everything and expect to move forward. You have to say no to the things that pull you off track, even if they're tempting, even if they look like opportunities. Because every yes to something unimportant is a no to your goals. Consistency is the magic ingredient. Doing something once or twice doesn't create mastery, and it doesn't create results. Doing it every day does. Repetition is how you get good. Repetition is how you get strong. Repetition is how you win. That's why you can't afford to skip days. When you skip one day, it's easier to skip the next. Before you know it, the habit is broken, and you're back where you started. Execution daily means no matter what happens, good day, bad day, busy day, tired day, you get something done. Even if it's a small step, you take it. Because small steps taken daily add up to big results over time. The truth is, execution is not glamorous. It's not flashy. Most of the time, it's just you alone doing the work while no one's watching. There's no applause, no instant gratification. But that's what makes it powerful. Because while everyone else is waiting for inspiration, you're building something real. You're stacking bricks every day, and sooner or later, you'll look up and realize you've built a wall so strong and so high that nothing can knock it down. One of the biggest enemies of daily execution is overthinking. People waste so much time trying to perfect the plan before they start, but you can't perfect a plan you haven't tested. The best plan in the world means nothing without action. Execution teaches you more than planning ever will, because execution gives you feedback. You try something, it works, or it doesn't, and you adjust. That's how progress happens, not in theory, but in action. Another enemy is waiting for motivation. If you only execute when you feel like it, you will never be consistent enough to succeed. Discipline beats motivation every single time. You have to be the kind of person who executes regardless of mood, weather, energy levels, or outside circumstances. You have to become relentless about doing what needs to be done, no matter how you feel. That's what separates the top 1% from everyone else. They don't just talk about execution, they live it. And here's the thing execution compounds. The more you execute, the more momentum you build. The more momentum you have, the easier it becomes to keep going. You start to see progress, which fuels your confidence, which makes you want to execute even more. But the opposite is true too. The less you execute, the more you stall, and the harder it is to start again. That's why you can't afford to stop. Even if you can only do a little one day, do it. Keep the chain alive. Never let the streak break. Daily execution is the bridge between who you are and who you want to be. It's the gap between talking about your goals and actually living them. You don't transform your life in a single day. You transform it through thousands of days where you keep showing up, doing the work, and refusing to quit. That's the truth most people don't want to hear, because it's not exciting, but it's the truth that will set you apart if you're willing to live it. So wake up tomorrow and execute. Wake up the day after that and execute again. Keep executing until it becomes part of you, until it feels wrong not to do the work. And when you look back months or years from now, you'll realize that it wasn't one massive action that changed your life. It was the small, consistent actions you executed every single day that built the life you wanted. Execution daily is not an option. It's the only way to win.